Single dad driver's shocking kiss saved a billionaire heiress, but it changed everything. It all started with rain, thick, blinding rain that turned the road into a mirror of chaos. Headlights flashed, horns blared, and somewhere in the middle of it all, Daniel Reed, a struggling single father and part-time driver, was about to make a decision that would change not only his life but the life of a woman he'd never met before. He saw her car, a sleek black Mercedes, spin out of control on the slippery mountain road. In the next heartbeat, it crashed into the guardrail, teetering dangerously above the ravine. Without thinking twice, Daniel slammed his brakes, jumped out into the storm, and ran toward the wreck. What happened in the next 60 seconds would become the talk of the entire city, because his desperate act to save her life ended with something no one could have imagined, a kiss that shocked the world. Backhand index pointing right before we continue this powerful story. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Hub Tale if you believe in kindness, miracles, and second chances. Your one click helps us spread more real, heart-touching stories like this. Daniel Reed wasn't a hero by nature. He was just a man trying to survive. A widowed father in his early 30s, he worked 2 jobs, as a rideshare driver by day and a warehouse loader by night. Life hadn't been kind to him. His wife, Melissa, had died from cancer 3 years earlier, leaving behind their 7-year-old daughter, Lily. Since then, every day had been a struggle between exhaustion and determination. He rarely smiled anymore, but he never stopped loving his little girl. She was his reason, his only spark of light in a world that seemed to have forgotten his name. That night, Daniel had taken an extra shift, driving through the storm to make a few more dollars. He couldn't afford to miss rent again, and Lily's school fees were overdue. He was exhausted, eyes half open, when he saw the Mercedes lose control on that curved road near Crestwood Hill. Without thinking about his own safety, he parked his old sedan sideways to block traffic and ran toward the smoking car. The airbags had deployed, and through the shattered glass he saw a woman, her face pale, her body slumped over the steering wheel. She wasn't moving. Rain pounded his back as he forced open the door. The car was dangerously close to sliding off the edge, the front wheels hanging over the cliff. Daniel's heart raced. He unbuckled her seatbelt, pulled her out, and carried her to safety just as the car gave way and tumbled down into the ravine with a thunderous crash. But she wasn't breathing. Her lips were blue. And that's when instinct took over. He laid her gently on the wet road and began CPR. Seconds stretched into eternity. He pressed against her chest, whispered for her to fight, and then, in the most desperate moment of his life, he gave her breath, the kiss that saved her life. Her eyes fluttered open. She gasped. She was alive. Daniel exhaled a shaky breath of relief, unaware that this single moment, captured by a passerby's dashcam, would soon explode across the internet. Her name was Evelyn Carter, the only daughter of the billionaire hotel magnate Richard Carter. Beautiful, confident, and powerful, she was known for her elegance and untouchable aura. But that night she had been just another human being, fragile, scared, and mortal. When she regained consciousness in the hospital, her father was already there, furious that no one could identify the man who'd saved her life. Daniel had quietly slipped away, not wanting attention or reward. He didn't even leave his name. For him, saving someone was enough. He had no idea the world had seen everything. Within 24 hours, the video of him saving and reviving her went viral. The media named him the Kiss Hero. The internet erupted with mixed emotions. Some praised him as a savior, others mocked the intimacy of his act. Daniel's phone was flooded with calls from reporters, and his rideshare account was temporarily suspended due to the attention. He hid from cameras, trying to protect Lily from the chaos, but fate had different plans. Evelyn couldn't get him out of her mind. She remembered the rain, the warmth of his hands, and the desperate breath that brought her back. She didn't remember his face clearly, only his eyes, kind yet tired, like someone who had seen too much pain. She asked her father's team to find him, but they couldn't. Until one afternoon, as she was leaving her family's hotel, she saw him standing across the street, waiting for his car's tire to be fixed. She recognized him instantly. She crossed the road, ignoring the cameras, and thanked him with tears in her eyes. Daniel tried to brush it off, embarrassed by the attention, but Evelyn wouldn't let it go. She insisted on rewarding him, offering money, but he refused. "I didn't do it for that," he said softly. "You don't owe me anything." She saw the sincerity in his eyes, and something in her heart shifted. This man wasn't like anyone she'd ever met. Over the next few weeks, Evelyn found reasons to see him again. She offered him a driver's job in her company, an attempt to help him without hurting his pride. He hesitated, but his daughter's needs pushed him to accept. Slowly, their worlds began to intertwine. Daniel would drive her to meetings, and she'd ask about his life. He was simple, humble, grounded, everything she was, but his presence reminded her of what truly mattered. For the first time in years, Daniel began to feel alive again. He'd forgotten how it felt to talk to someone who listened. Evelyn treated him with kindness, not pity. She'd sometimes join him and Lily for lunch, bringing little gifts for the girl. Lily adored her, calling her Miss Eve. Their bond grew quietly, tenderly under the surface, but the world outside wasn't kind. When the media found out that the billionaire heiress was spending time with a single-father driver, headlines exploded. From billionaire to driver, Evelyn Carter's scandalous friendship. They twisted their story into something ugly. Evelyn's father, Richard Carter, was furious. He summoned Daniel and accused him of using his daughter for fame and money. Daniel, humiliated, resigned immediately. Evelyn was heartbroken, but she couldn't defy her father, at least not then. Weeks passed. Daniel returned to his old routine, though his heart felt emptier than before. Lily missed Evelyn terribly. One evening, as he drove home, he saw a familiar car broken down by the roadside, Evelyn's car. Without hesitation, he stopped. She was sitting inside, crying. Her father had forced her into an arranged engagement to protect the family's reputation. She told Daniel she was leaving the city for good. That night, under the same kind of rain that had brought them together, Evelyn admitted she'd fallen in love with him. "You didn't just save my life," she whispered through tears. "You changed it." Daniel wanted to say it back, but he knew love between them was impossible in the world she lived in. Still, as she prepared to leave, he took her hand, kissed her forehead, and said, "Then live the life you want, not the one you're told to." She smiled through tears, and just before walking away, she kissed him one last time, a kiss filled with gratitude, love, and heartbreak. Months later, Daniel's life took an unexpected turn. Evelyn had secretly recommended him to one of her company's humanitarian foundations. He was hired as a logistics manager, earning enough to give Lily a better life. He never saw Evelyn again until 1 year later, when a letter arrived at his office. It was from her. Inside, she wrote, "I built a new life, one I chose myself. I'm free now, and I owe it all to the man who showed me what kindness truly means. If you ever find yourself in New York, look for me. I'll be waiting." Daniel folded the letter with trembling hands. For the first time in years, he felt something powerful, a mix of peace, love, and hope. The kiss that once shocked the world had become something sacred, something that reminded him that every act of kindness can change more than one life. It can rewrite destinies. Backhand index pointing right. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Hubtail. Help us keep spreading stories that remind the world that love, compassion, and courage still exist. Speech balloon. Before you go, tell us in the comments, do you believe one act of kindness can truly change a life forever? As the night settled and the city lights flickered like stars below, Daniel tucked Lily into bed, kissed her good night, and looked out the window with a quiet smile. Somewhere, across the ocean of fate, a woman whose life he'd saved was smiling too. And though their worlds were different, their hearts had met in a moment that neither time nor distance could ever erase.